You now know how to create my blocks that can receive input from the user with configuration panel options. But what happens if you want to have a my block that can provide output? Well, we'll find out in this video. We're going to use the example of averaging two light sensor values. So we can get our two light sensors, one on port 2, one on port 3. We average them. Just a simple, you add the two light sensor values together, divide by 2. That's the average light sensor reading between the two sensors. Now, if we needed to do this multiple times in different programs, we could turn this into a my block. And we do this in a similar way that we provide input to a sensor. We need a block that has some sort of number input value or number input port. So the math block will work. We can take the result and wire it to the math block input. Doesn't matter which hub as long as it's an input. And then we select the blocks that we want inside the my block and click create new my block. And you can see that the final math block, which is really just a placeholder, turns into this data port labeled result. So in our my block, we're going to take the two light sensor values, add them together, divide them, and send them out through a data port. We'll name this block average light, or how about av ls for light sensor. Returns the average light sensor reading. And we will create our icon. We'll have it be something like this, with the light sensor icon on top and the math block behind it. Okay, finish. And we can remove the math block. So now we have our average light sensor my block with the data hub labeled result. Now that's great. Now what happens if we wanted to rename this port, have a different tooltip pop up instead of labeling it result? We could name it something else. The way we do this is we edit the my block by double clicking, and then you double click on the label that says result, and you type in whatever you want it to be labeled, like average ls reading. You save it, close it, and now you have to delete this my block from your sequence beam and place it back. And when you mouse over the data port, you can see it says average ls reading, just as we did before. And this is a standard number output. So now you know how to create my blocks that return values.